So welcome to a brand new format. Welcome to a brand new everything. We are online. We're a month long. We have a bunch of different changes for you. So a little bit of housekeeping, if we can add the slides for me really quickly. Oh, you can't hear me. Great. Okay, so a couple of things that I want to go over today. First and foremost, thank you to our presenting sponsors and genuinely all of our sponsors, FIS, and we will recognize all of our sponsors throughout the month, but certainly throughout the week. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Heather Ackles. I am the Executive Director with Enter Alliance of Greater Cincinnati, a local nonprofit that is 100% dedicated to helping amazing high school students like yourself find your passion in technology and help turn that into a career. So you get to spend a month with us. We're going to do a ton of different things, but I really want you to think about why you're here and what you should try to take away from the event. So you get the opportunity to engage in a ton of technology, a ton of professional development opportunities, but probably the most important is the networking. And I don't mean just the networking on, I'm not sure what's happening with my slides. If we could go back just a little bit. All right, that's perfect. Make sure you're networking not only with our business professionals at all of the booths, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but also make sure that you're networking with one another. One of my favorite things about TechOlympics is always finding that tribe and those communities. And I've said it 1,000 times to a lot of you, Cincinnati is very large, but it is very small. So all of you, as you become amazing future technologists within the region, you will come across one another. So make that network, make that connection now. So if we could go to the next slide. Perfect. As I mentioned, we have a ton of changes. First, every single week is themed. Congratulations, you have entered week 1, and the majority of our focus will be on software development. Week 2 is cyber, then art tech, and then the last week is all things data. Now, what this means to you is that all of your competitions, all of your breakout sessions, workshops, and keynotes will tie back to that theme. We have a couple of exceptions to that. One is professional development and career readiness. We certainly want you to get prepared for those intern postings that are dropping very soon, but also we want you just to improve your soft skills in general. Also, our companies will give you lots of opportunities to engage with them through those different sessions, and they don't necessarily tie to the themes. So if we could go to the next slide. So each week, inside of the theme, we do have a fairly consistent layout. First, you're going to have a keynote. Today, you have to listen to me, and then the keynote. So first, you'll have a keynote, and then you'll do a weekly preview. And this is a great way for you to just kind of, check the box. That sounds really interesting. That's something that I definitely want to do. So we will do that. And then throughout your entire week, you'll have those theme sessions. And that week will wrap up with a skills competition. We have been really, really lucky that we've been able to partner with our 4 major universities. And each week they're going to co-host that skills competition for you. Now, those skills competitions will take into account everything that you've learned throughout the week, but you don't have to be an expert. So you're not going to have to be an expert in software development to compete in the software development competition. So really jump in, give it a try, and definitely learn something. Let's go to the next page, please. Now, on top of all of the amazing opportunities that you have to learn stuff, we also are giving you a ton of amazing opportunities to win stuff. So primarily our prizes will be distributed in a raffle type fashion. And what that means is you will be rewarded specific raffle tickets based on different interactions that you have throughout the week and throughout the month. So if you show up to a session, you will get raffle tickets. If you stay throughout the session, you will get more raffle tickets. And by the way, leaving in the middle of a session is rude, so don't do that. But if you stay, you'll get more raffle tickets. If you are in a competition, you get raffle tickets. If you make a meaningful impression on a presenter, a speaker, a business partner, someone at a booth, and they submit you as a student to be recognized, you get raffle tickets. We will be drawing from these raffle buckets regularly. We will have outstanding student awards every day that will be announced in Whova. We will have top participation awards every week. We will have random participation awards. So just because you didn't come to everything, you can still win. We will have prizes based on specific sessions. So I know that we've got a pretty incredible prize for that drone panel in week 2. We have prizes for the competitions. So really, as long as you come and you engage and you learn something and you make this experience meaningful, you have a really good chance of walking away with some of these prizes. And you probably have seen our marketing. I think our budget was pretty close to $10,000. So they're nice prizes. Every week we'll be giving out a Microsoft Surface Go to a participant, to someone who's highly engaged. And teachers, I know you're out there listening too. We have prizes for you depending on how much you engage in your participation as well. So let's go to the next item. All right, I talked at the beginning about missing your tribe, right? I miss the student lounge. I've been with TechOlympics for a very long time, longer than I should probably admit. And it is one of my favorite parts of TechOlympics. You get to go in, you have a good time, you meet people, you play video games sometimes. Last year or the year before, there was a whole ukulele outbreak. It was very strange, but we missed it too. So in order to create a meaningful experience as close to the student lounge as we could possibly give you, we have created a series of fun activities. Now, these fun activities, there's approximately 20 of them on the schedule. And as you can see here, this is a screenshot from your Whova app. You can filter just by the fun activities. You can filter just by track. You can filter by just a specific type of session, but you will be able to identify these and when they happen. These can be highly technical. I know that we're hosting a Minecraft experience at the end of, I guess the end of the month, maybe later in the month. We have Among Us, we have chess. We also have some t-shirt design competitions and some challenge design. So we have over 20 options for you to engage in that aren't necessarily completely just heads down, let's learn stuff. Now with that, we have almost 100 different sessions for students and teachers to engage in throughout the month. So you have a huge opportunity to find what you love and really dabble as you need to. But please check out the fun activities. I think they're going to be a lot of fun, obviously, but I think they're going to be really enjoyable. Hopefully they're close to the student lounge, but at least it's something. All right, next slide. Another really great part of having TechOlympics in person is being able to go through career crossroads. Last year, we had a little bit of a disruption with TechOlympics as we moved to Great American Ballpark. This year, we're going virtual. So you will still be able to engage with all of our sponsors online, similar to the way that you have in the past. Again, this is another screenshot from Whova, and you can see that there are 2 areas to engage. One is sponsors, and sponsors is where you are going to be able to find information about all of the sponsors that have supported Inter-Alliance and TechOlympics this year. You will find videos, you will find PDFs, contact information, and other really great items that will help you grow your understanding of our local businesses. The exhibitors section is a more interactive area. So that is where you will find showcase events. So you can actually go and interact in a live fashion with your sponsors. You can also enter different raffles or giveaways. For example, the Inter-Alliance booth, if you sign up for our email distribution, then you'll be entered in for a raffle. So there's a lot of really great opportunities. And in case I haven't mentioned it already, you guys get first access to the high school intern job postings. And a lot of the companies that are in that exhibitor area have some of those postings. So it's really, really important that you look at your opportunities, go find the companies, engage, ask questions, make an impact. I can tell you personally that having that relationship well before you apply always is beneficial, right? Always. So make sure you actually go out and you make an attempt to connect. And for our younger groups, freshmen, sophomores, and I think we even have a couple of 8th graders out there, don't skip the sponsor booths. This is a really great way for you to start planning and realizing what's out there and what's available. I think that you will be surprised. Every year I engage with our sponsors in different meetings, and I always walk away with a, wow, I didn't know you guys were doing that. That's amazing. So definitely go check them out. They're incredible. One, they're here. They believe in you. They believe in the great talent that you bring to the area. And two, they want to interact. They want to engage. So definitely go check them out. Next slide, please. All right, Whova. Now we've used Whova with you for the last couple of years, so it is very, very similar to the in-person app, but I wanted to make sure that you have good visibility to some of those common features and functions that you're going to have. Hopefully, all of you have gone out and you've already downloaded your app, and you're not just using the web app, you're using both, and that's great. You're here, so you've at least made it this far. But I wanted to make sure that you understand everything that's available to you. So first and foremost, you're going to have the agenda. The agenda is going to be very important to you because that's where you're going to find all of the amazing things that you can do. Also, I wanted to call out with the agenda that there are a couple of experiences that are limited capacity. Now, either that's because it's so hands-on that having 500 of you at the same time trying to learn GitHub with 2 instructors would be crazy, or it's a materials issue or something like that, right? So there are just a handful of sessions that are limited, and they are notated that they are limited, first come, first serve. So in order to engage in those, you must sign up and add them to your agenda. And once those sessions are full, they are full. So it's just something to keep in mind. Please check out the agenda for the entire month to make sure that you are able to jump into everything that you want. Down the list, you have attendees. So if you become instant best friends from a school with a student that you've never met before, you have the ability to connect online with them. You have the ability to connect with the organizers, my leadership council, and others. Now remember, Inter-Alliance has a 0 tolerance for online bullying and for any bad behavior online. I have absolutely no issue with saying thank you for participating, come back again next year maybe. So please behave, please be nice when you're online, when you're sending messages to different attendees, but also as you're sending messages and putting posts in the community post. With that, as we're jumping over to community, please check it out. There's a ton of different things, from polls to contests to different announcements. That's where we will throw different winner information. So definitely hang out and check out the community area. Sponsors and exhibitors, I've already mentioned, and then direct messages will come in that messaging box. There's a lot of other information, documents, surveys, Q&A, other items that you can find. Feel free to look around. Typically, if there's something for you to action, it will pop up with a little indicator like it does next to my messages. But check in, take a look around, and try to make sure that you're leveraging all of the amazing things that Whova has to offer for you. And I know that I mentioned it in the email today, but Whova works best on Chrome. And if you are engaging heavily into sessions, your mobile device is fine, but it's even better if you're doing it on the web app. So please, please, please try to use the web app and then make sure that you're ready to go before the sessions. And then if we go to the next page, I have one more section for you on Whova. Oh, I may have missed a slide. That's okay. Oh, there we go. In each of the sessions, you're going to have the ability to ask questions depending on how the session is set up. Please use the Whova chat as much as you can. Every single session is going to have an Inter-Alliance moderator in it, and they will help you get your questions answered, whether that's questions on, hey, I can't hear, and that's okay, we can help you. Or I have a very specific question on machine learning and AI, and I need it answered right now. That's fine too. The moderator will help you. They'll make sure that the speaker gets to your question and you have everything you need. But remember, play nice, be sweet. No, we're all in line. We're all here to enjoy ourselves. All right, one more slide. I think we're getting to the end, guys. I know that's a ton of logistics, and I apologize. I know that this is the least fun part of what we do, and I totally understand that, but all of us will need help sometimes. So this information, this information is available to you in Whova, but if you ever need help, you have a question, you are having trouble navigating different items, whatever, you can contact an organizer, and that's going to come to myself or one of my amazing high school team members, and they will get you what you need. Or you can email us at central.office@interalliance.org, and we will do our best to return those emails as quickly as we can. As you can imagine, this month is crazy, so we are trying to respond to emails as fast as we can. Your best bet really is to go through the Whova chat, or if you have subscribed to our Slack channel, that's probably the fastest, to be completely honest. So with that being said, a couple of recaps before we hand it over for the keynote. One, be nice, right? Be nice. Two, learn a lot. If you walk into a session that you know nothing about, fantastic. You may walk out of that session realizing that you are now absolutely in love with graphic design or 3D modeling or something else, and that is worth it. So take the leap, right? There are plenty of opportunities. If you jump in and you love it, you've learned something. If you jump in and you don't love it, you've learned something. So please, please, please try to commit to yourself that every week you will find one session that you don't know anything about and jump in. Another tip for you. Professional development is so critical for you. And it's critical whether you're looking to enter the workplace soon. It's critical if you're just looking to jump right into college, if you are looking to land a job that's not necessarily an internship with Inter-Alliance, if you are just going to be a part of a club and have to work in a team. Soft skills are incredibly important. So do not sleep on resume writing and LinkedIn and GitHub training. Pro tip, all of those are required for your internship. You have to be able to complete those items. But also there's great panels about college readiness and what it's like to be an intern at different companies. There's a great panel about what it means to be a consultant. You know, there are different types of careers. You can still be in cybersecurity and not be, you know, a full-time employee at one company. You can actually be a consultant and then work at many different companies throughout your career. So there's a lot of really great opportunities for you to expand your knowledge, learn something new, try something new, and please compete. It's a lot of fun. Don't be intimidated. A lot of the competitions are leveled, so there's plenty of opportunities for you to grow and express and expand your capabilities. Now, I talk a lot. You guys will learn this after the end of the month if you haven't already. My leadership council kids are always saying, yeah, she is. But I am going to now hand it over to Ayushi, and she is going to introduce herself, maybe talk just a little bit about what she does on Leadership Council, and then introduce our first keynote of the event. Thank you guys. I am so excited, and I will be back with you very soon.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Heather, for that kickoff of TechOlympics 2021 Illuminate. My name is Ayushi Nagpal. I am a senior at Mason High School and the Chief Operating Officer at the Inter-Alliance of Greater Cincinnati, as well as co-chair of TechOlympics this year. And so a little bit about the Inter-Alliance Leadership Council is that we are a group of high school students that organize all the different events that Inter-Alliance has to offer. And so we have over 60 events, from our main one being TechOlympics, but also a lot of professional development throughout the year. We have different kinds of events like Startup Saturday. And so those are really things you should check out. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our keynote speaker to kick off the Software Development Week, Anil Bhatt. He's a Chief Technology Officer at Anthem, and he served at Anthem for the last 11 years, and is currently leading Anthem's transformation to build a digital-first, technology-led organization focusing on enhancing consumer experience using platform-based thinking. And so Anil believes in a strong culture, clear vision, and common goals build a long-lasting, highly motivated team. And so he loves to inspire and mentor team members and is engaged to develop a strong talent pipeline at Anthem. Thank you so much, Anil, for being our keynote speaker, and I'll hand it off to you now.
What we're gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
Appreciate it. While I have you as a captive audience, I did want to highlight a couple of really great things that are happening in the next couple of weeks. I already mentioned our university-sponsored competitions. One that I'd really like to call out, it looks like a ton of fun. I wish I could jump into it, is Cyber Week next week. It's a virtual escape room. Definitely check that out. I know that there's some amazing app development happening with Xavier this weekend. I'm really very excited, honestly, about all of our keynotes. We have Rachel Cochran from FIS coming for next week. We have a great panel sponsored by Miami of different emerging technology leaders, specifically in the art tech space. And we have at the very end, and for those of you who don't know, I spent a very long time at Kroger, so my heart is absolutely there with Kroger. I'm a big fan. But at the end, for Data Week, we have Yale Cossett, who is the Senior Vice President and CIO of Kroger Company, the whole company. So we've got a lot of really great keynotes. We've got a ton of amazing competitions that are coming. We have fantastic sessions. I know personally, I'm going to be leading a resume writing presentation for a workshop. We have Intro to Python. We have Intro to JavaScript. We've got an amazing Flutter workshop happening this week from a very good friend of mine, Sierra from Atomic Robot. She's incredible. But you will get to experience not just a wealth of technologies, but also a bunch of different companies. So what's really great about TechOlympics is that The majority of these sessions are put together by our university partners, our business partners, our high school teachers who want to invest back in you. And if you pay attention really closely to the agenda, you'll actually see several Inter-Alliance or high school alumni coming back and giving presentations on career readiness or data and AI. And we have an entire, college and youth session where you can sit down with them and say, how did this help you? Did it help you? What are you doing in college? How is the food? Do you have to share a dorm? What is it like with COVID? So we've got a really great session there. In a similar format, we also have, ITNU. And ITNU is my absolute favorite thing about TechOlympics. And if any of you are taking tally, that's probably the 9th time I've said that tonight. But ITNU is genuinely my favorite thing. It was the very first experience that I had with Inter-Alliance and where I fell in love with amazing talent and this amazing organization. But ITNU is a great session where you will spend time as a group with a local professional, typically a higher level senior leader within an organization, and you get to ask them tough questions. Why did you decide to be in technology? Is it hard? What does work-life balance look like? What career did you start in? Was this where you chose to go? What does every day look like? So you get to ask all of those questions. They will get to ask you some questions, and it's just a really meaningful event, I think, both for the students as well as for the business partners. We've talked a lot about career readiness and getting ready to go for those Inter-Alliance internships. Another program called mock interviews. Those will happen twice throughout the month, and they're fantastic. They're rapid fire, 15-minute interviews, so please bring your resume if you have one. If you don't, that's okay, but if you have one, bring it. Where the business professionals, HR professionals will sit down, they will ask you all of the typical questions, and they'll give you feedback on the spot. So like I said, a lot of really amazing things. We're going to go ahead and get started and kick off Software Development Week with our keynote speaker, Anil Bhatt. And Anil is the Chief Technology Officer of Anthem Digital. And thank you so much for being here. We're thrilled to have you supporting us, not just as a keynote, but genuinely throughout the entire event. Over to you.
Awesome, great. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to all of you who are joining us through the virtual session, and thank you for your participation and for being here today. It's my privilege to welcome you all, and I'm really impressed by and very happy to see so many students attending, investing in themselves and learning and preparing for the future. Really excited about where we are. And next slide, please. As we move forward, I want to start with a video that we want to make sure that, and this video is going to tee up some of the topics that we are going to talk about today. It's very interesting to see some of the things that we are going to look at in video, and then we talk about it. So why don't we tee up the video, please?
Healthcare is ready for a change. It's ready to be simplified, to be intuitive, to give control to the one who needs it most, you, so that you can break into the world of health empowerment. I'm Sydney, and I believe that health should be personalized, that it should be smart, that it can change the way you approach your life. How is it possible? Because I'm there every step of the way, guiding you with tailored insights and actions to take for a healthier future. I am a one-stop shop for your entire world of health, connecting digitally, instantaneously, how you want to, when you need to. Diet and exercise tips based on your interests. Doctor visits on your terms, in person or from your couch. No more gaps between you, your doctor, and your insurance. This is health, wellness, and management all in one place, so that a healthy life is accessible to everyone. Sydney Health gives you more than reasons why you should. It gives you ways you can. It's time to put your life at the center of your health with Sydney Health.
Okay, great. So as we move forward, I want to make sure I, settle you all on what is Sydney and how does it matter to us? Sydney Health is Anthem's member-facing mobile application. I would say that much like you use Amazon's app to buy things, much like if you've traveled, you use Delta's app for airline, your ticket management, and also some of you who are movie buffs, you go to AMC or Regal, you have an app out there where you can buy the tickets, you can select the seats and where you want to go. So similarly, for us to make sure that we can manage our members' health and wellness in a very optimal manner, Sydney Health is the app that we have built from scratch with human-centered design thinking and AI at the center of it. And so as we move forward, you'll hear some words like personalization, which means how is it unique to you? And you're going to hear AI and human-centered design, which I'm going to call by HCD. But that is what Sydney is built off. So as we transition to the next slide, as we built Sydney, we were very thoughtful about the design. When you build any application or any product for our members, you want to make sure that it's easy to use. You want to make sure that you know how does it make someone feel. You want to make sure that how relevant a product or anything that you develop is to someone's life. And then basically, as we look at, there's more of a design question that how do you make sure that this product is touching the member where we want them to be touched? As you look at the human-centered design thinking is at the core of what we do here. And the way I want to make sure that I make you understand this is that I'm going to take some examples and I hope those connect with you. If we move to the next slide, please. Okay, so you all know that, ketchup is one of the favorite things everybody uses. And I'm sure that a lot of you are football fans, and Patrick Mahomes, who's going to be in Super Bowl this year, is a huge ketchup fan. Long back, when I used to pick up a ketchup bottle, I had to shake it hundreds of times to get the last drop out of the ketchup bottle. And basically, I'm sure that the high schoolers out here probably have not experienced it, but a lot of us who have been in that state many years back, there was a experience issue that we were facing out there. The problem was the bottle was hard to handle. You could not squeeze the bottle. There was a lot of wasted ketchup at the bottom of the bottle. So what Heinz did was Heinz used human-centered design to redesign the bottle, to have it a hand grip, holding space, made it plastic so that it was easier to squeeze, and inverted the design so that you can get the last drop of the ketchup. And that's what human-centered design thinking is. How do you make your product easier to use? How do you think about the members and customers? How do you think about people who are going to use the product and make sure you build that into the origination and inception of a particular product? Now, this was a very easy example I gave you. As we move forward, if we go to the next slide, please, I'm going to make it more real. I'm going to make it more relevant to the experience somebody had and how a developer at GE came up with the idea of transforming how MRIs were done. A ketchup bottle thing, is one thing, but as we look at MRI, which is a cutting-edge technology, but a very unpleasant experience for patients, and even more unpleasant for the kids who had to go through this. So there was an inspiration that came. A person observed that, as kids were going through MRIs, it was creating a lot of fear and anxiety within the kids. The kids were so anxious that sometimes before the MRI, they had to be sedated because they could not lie still long enough. So, challenge that how do you make the experience of a scanning machine going through, making noises around you, but how would kids still be okay being in that condition? The developer used human-centered design to focus on redesigning the experience and not looking at the product. They looked at the experience. They looked at how do you make sure that the kids are not going to be anxious and scared of going into this machine which is very, very needful for their well-being. He basically observed a daycare center. He talked to child specialists. He talked to experts from local children's museum where kids were having a great time when they went there. And then he also talked to the doctors at the hospital. Now came the implementation side. The team created and piloted a prototype that would become the Adventure Series scanner. And as you see on the right-hand side, and it transformed the traditional MRI into kids' adventure story with the patient in the starring role. They were the heroes of this movie. They applied colorful decals to the outside of the machine and every surface in the room, covering the floor, ceilings, walls, and the equipment. They created a script for the machine operators so that they could lead the young patients through the adventure. And the new patients actually enjoyed the experience. And that's what is at the heart of human-centered design. In this case, I would say the kid-centered design that they created. And as we kind of move forward out here, those human-centered design principles, in the next slide, if you can move to the next slide, please. There are key pillars, as we shared the example, there are some underlining principles of human-centered design we all need to make sure that we keep in mind. The first one is customer-oriented. It should really make the customer feel better. If you're watching an NFL game or if you're going to a ballpark, all the surroundings out there, they need to be developed, keeping customer at the mind. You need to make sure that how are you making customers feel so that they can be a repeat customer. They can come back to you again and again. Learning over knowing. You want to learn about the customer. You don't want to go with the perception that I know what the customer wants. I know what everybody wants. You don't want to go with that mindset. And also fail smart and fast and iterate. You've always heard about do your best, don't fail. But I would say that the human-centered design principle is fail, but fail fast. Be smart to learn about that and kind of iterate from there. So if you go to the next slide, please. When I talk about consumer-oriented, the first principle is consumer or human orientation. That means you are making sure that you're keeping your customer at the center of everything. You are making sure that you are doing the research to quantitatively and qualitatively measure the customer's needs, habits, and preferences, much like Netflix does about you. You guys watch a movie, they basically know exactly what you're watching, and they keep track of that. They learn from the data, and then they recommend more movies to you. So they are passionate about the customers and knowing what the customers are wanting. It also involves ethnographic or in-person observation to understand how people act in everyday life. For a developer to go to a museum or to go to a MRI scanning place to understand what kids feel is the ethnographic research you want to do. You want to make sure that you understand the customer behavior. You want to understand tomorrow when you're going to be developers and when you do great things, developing your own apps, you want to make sure that it's usable. You want to make sure that you know how customers move their thumb on an application. Where should be the button be lying? So there's a lot of research that we want to make sure we do. And finally, being customer oriented is a built-in foundation of empathy and immersion into the hearts and minds of people you're designing it for. You want to make sure you're empathetic about how you're going to do things. How does it make sure that it is relevant for our members as we move forward? And if we can keep the slides moving, please. And okay, I think would like to have the Fitbit and Venmo slide, but I'm going to give you a couple of examples of where this human-centered design thinking has been used to a great deal. The first example is Fitbit. The invention of product like Fitbit is undeniably human-centered. Why do I say that? Because the inventors of Fitbit trackers recognized people's challenge with tracking and maintaining fitness. There was no way you could create an Excel file and type in every day, what did you do? How many calories did you burn? And you had to type how many steps did you take? It was very, very difficult to make sure that we do what we needed to do to maintain our health. Fitbit came up with a product, great product that basically automatically does all that tracking for you. They learn from people, they learn from the behavior, and then defined what will be the easier way for people to carry this. They didn't build a big machine for you. They made it like a watch. So those are the thinkings that they put from a human-centered design perspective. Venmo is another great example. Two friends, they went for a European trip, came back, and then they decided, okay, I forgot my wallet, so can you pay for me? And one of the friends paid for the whole trip. And at the end, when they had to do the math, they were working on a Excel file and calculators, and then they wrote checks to each other. Now, that's where the idea was born. There was a problem that how do I give this person money when at the end of a trip? And they created Venmo app, which automatically lets you send the money to whoever you want, and basically now is one of the fastest growing app here in the United States. So those are the problems that people faced, but they created solutions which were appropriate to make sure that the human-centered design thinking was enabling the solutions as we move forward. As we move forward, one of the things that is very, very important, and I'm not tracking the slide where we are exactly, but what I'll say is that, making sure that you have no assumptions made in your observing. And because if you make an assumption and you think that you know about people, you're going to make bad decisions. You need to make sure that you are learning from the data. You're taking time to understand what the needs of the people are and making sure that we take that forward. You want to make sure that you have a beginner's mindset. Kids are awesome. They don't have a perceived notion about how you want to do things. You can be creative in your ideas. You can be very fresh, and you want to make sure that you are expert of your own product, but you do not stop thinking that somebody can influence your product in a better way. So make sure that you have a very, very open mindset as we move forward. Also, it's important to find value in different perspectives. Make sure that you talk to others, make sure that you understand and observe from others, and get those perspectives to help you build the product, the dream product you are trying to build. So that's very, very important. And I think a couple of examples, if I give you here, are that, Apple designers make it easy and intuitive as possible to use the devices, making it so that you can use their products and absolutely with no training. You get an Apple phone and basically you use the phone, you open it. There's no big manual that you need to basically go through to get the phone set up and move forward with that. And if you think about it, it doesn't happen by chance. Somebody really thoughtfully looked at the problem of the prior phones, said that we are going to make this experience very, very easy. And that's where the human-centered design thinking came back. Now, the very, very important one, which is near and dear to me, is fail fast, fail smart, and basically make sure that you iterate upon that. My parents used to tell me that, make sure that you don't fail at XYZ. But I can tell you that the failures have given me the best learnings that we have. And if we can move to the slide forward, please. Okay. So, when given the amount of time, kindergartners build the higher towers than CEOs because they try many options much more quickly. And this marshmallow challenge, as you grow up, as you go into your professional life, I'm sure each one of you will do it tens of hundreds of times, because every team building exercise, you will see this marshmallow challenge. And I can tell you that kindergartners were much better at solving this and making the highest tower than the people who were professionals and who had years of experience behind them. The reason is that because they tried so many different variations and they failed, they iterated, they basically did it again. And by trying many things, they basically were able to build the highest tower out there. So make sure that you incorporate the feedback that you receive every time. Keep iterating, testing, and integrating, and make sure that you take the better products, get to the market first. That is the whole fail smart and fast and iterate kind of logic out here. As we move forward, I want to spend time on how artificial intelligence and human-centered designs are disrupting the entire industry. And if we can carry forward with the slide, please. And AI, and I hope all of you know artificial intelligence. It's basically learning about the data and driving insights that help you make decisions quicker and basically allows you to be very precise about what you're going to do next. AI paired with human-centered design is disrupting the industry. And today and also in the future, you will see that human-centered design is used to make AI more personalized, and AI can help us automate and scale human-centered design. A couple of examples or three examples that I'm going to give you out here. If we can keep moving the slide, please. And I'm not able to see that, but so you'll see three examples out here, and these are probably relevant to all of you. The first one is the Amazon experience. Online shopping with product recommendations that utilize artificial neural networks empowered companies like Amazon to disrupt the retail industry. The recommendation engine. So when you go to Amazon app and basically you look for a product and let's say you buy a football, it'll give you a recommendation on the side that this is your favorite team. Do you want to buy a cap for that? If you go buy a hairbrush, it's going to give you clips that are paired with that and which are more personalized to you. So a big amount of Amazon's revenue comes from these referrals using the AI engine that it runs. In the Google example, Google disrupted both digital map and step-by-step directions, and services like Yahoo and MapQuest could not catch up because there was a heavy dose of machine learning and computer vision from the geolocated images to provide both service in real time. You go to Google Map these days and you can see the street, you can see what is around, what is very clearly visible as if you are in person out there. So that is basically the advanced machine learning and algorithms that can build the exact location end to end. And also the rideshare Uber that has come in recently, it basically has completely disrupted the taxi industry by leveraging machine learning to optimally match drivers with the users and making sure that it can give you the exact time where you're going to be picked up. It can give you the pickup location, wherever you're standing, it can geolocate you, and all the sophisticated services that are available. So these are examples wherein human-centered design and AI basically is coming together and making sure that we can make the maximum out of it. The buy with now with one click and other features on Amazon, they're all built on AI and the best in class human-centered design. If we go to the next slide, please. So I want to spend some last few minutes on how is Anthem using human-centered design and AI to create the digital first organization. The human-centered design, if we go to the next slide, at Anthem is we use the core principles and practices of human-centered design to develop the digital products and drive adoption of digital tools. Any tool that you develop, all of you are going to be great programmers tomorrow. As you do a lot of thinking, what you will experience is that we need to make sure that we are making products that are personalized to the member and the customer you're targeting. So we are making sure that we are creating products that anticipate what matters and what the member needs than just giving them more and more apps and more features. So we are trying to create that exceptional experience based on what the members need. We want to make sure that in the product design phase, we are developing and launching digital products and solutions in a very iterative manner. We are making sure that we keep launching, learning, and make sure that we build the product, the next best product for our members. We are basically making sure that we are doing a process redesign. Your companies and the companies that you're going to work for down the line need you to come in and be able to automate the process. Make sure that as you're going out of the college and you're going to the next company, as they're doing a particular job in a particular way, how can you come in and redesign the process and say that this is how we can automate things? This is how we can make sure that we take the manual labor so that the labor can do something better out there. So really process design on thinking, making sure that the marketing, branding, and advertising is focused on bringing the right communication to our customers, making sure that they are learning and they are knowing about the product so that they can make sure that they're using it in the best way possible. and making sure that we are partnering with healthcare centers and consumer brands to benefit our members. Those are at Anthem what we say the human-centered design principles that are very, very core to how we move forward. And now I'm going to focus on artificial intelligence, how we are using artificial intelligence at Anthem. We use artificial intelligence to make sure Anthem's products are intelligent and useful as much as possible. Artificial intelligence is a collection of powerful technologies. We use heavy engineering, we use cognitive tools, we use huge amount of machine learning software that allows us to solve the cognitive problems and making sure that we make the most out of the intelligence that we need to gather. So the key out there is learn and improve. We want to make sure that we continuously learn, identify semantics, which means that discern the expressions of what the data is telling us, making sure that we have reasons and making decisions at the same time. We apply context and interactions are read to make sure that we define the next best action. And we recognize and understand, the technology that we use, we want to make sure that we are able to recognize the patterns, we are able to understand the patterns to make sure that we, can define what would be the best way to interact with the members. And we are using a lot of that in our voice and image recognition. As you move to the next slide, this is our vision for tomorrow at Anthem. We are a fully platform integrated ecosystem that uses human-centered design and AI to connect every interaction of every stakeholder. And when I say stakeholder, we have our members, we have our brokers, we have a lot of constituents to whom we serve. We want to make sure that they are all connected using the human-centered design and digital technology to make sure that we are able at Anthem, we are making sure that the AI and human-centered design comes together to deliver the best-in-class products for our members. Now, I think 6 minutes. I would like by giving you all what I feel that would be your you be as students and aspiring computer professionals. I want to make sure that you can think about that rather than crunching code. What is important for me is to make sure that I understand what problem I'm trying to solve. I understand that I need to solve this problem, but when I solve the problem, I want to make sure that the adoption and engagement of people for whom I solve this problem is at a high peak. And that can only happen when you keep your members in front of you. When you look at the problem and say that I'm going to use technology to make sure that it is relevant for whoever is using it. There's no point for Amazon to create such a big infrastructure, for Netflix to create a platform where you can watch the movie wherever you want, unless and until the experience that they give you, whether you're watching it on a phone, whether you're watching it on an iPad, whether you're watching it on a desktop, it gives you the interface which allows you to easily watch it. It even tells you exactly where you left the movie when you go to the next device. It tells you the recommendation based on what mood you are in today and what you have been watching. What is the next best thing for you to watch? That's where AI comes heavily in use. It's important for you all to understand that as the world moves digital, as we get more and more heavily dependent on the technology to solve the problems, humanizing technology is very, very important. So crunching code is fine, but at the same time, understanding how this technology is going to make the things that I'm going to build more human is the most important thing that you're going to do. With that, I'm going to, conclude out here, but I'm very excited about what is in store and how you could use the human-centered design in your life. Make sure you think about the problem, make sure you think about the solution, but think about the solution in the context of how it will be used and how it will be useful for the people who are going to use it. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to the, I think Heather or Randy. but it's a privilege to be here. I wish you all the best of luck for the rest of the sessions, and as well as, I'm here to take any questions. Ankur and team will send you all the information about how we can do that. But best of luck to Heather and team for organizing this. Great job, and I look forward to future participation as we move forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. That session was absolutely incredible. One of the things that I often share with the students is that it doesn't matter how amazing an idea is if you can't get it out of your head and apply it to the customer and why they need it and why they should be excited, then it will never go anywhere. So I think that your presentation hit that right on the head and ties in great with Software Development Week as well as our Design Week. So we have a whole Art Tech Week, the third part of TechOlympics, and you'll hear a lot more of that user design and why it's important in telling a story. So with that, thank you so much for being here. We will conclude and kind of wrap up. Thank you. So everybody, we have one more thing after this, and then you are off to the races with everything else that you have to do tonight. What I want you to do is look at the sessions that are offered tonight. We have an API integration workshop. We have a great matchmaker, fun committee game thing. And we also have Agile development practices right after this, hosted by Microsoft, and that one looks incredible. Tomorrow, you've got what the heck is a product manager, intro to JavaScript, some Python. Also, our booths for the sponsors open. So there's a lot of opportunity to engage. So with that, I want to welcome you to the first week of Virtual TechOlympics, and I'm going to kick it over to our hype video, and I can't wait to see you until next time.